Holosphere, Pantera's home. Its frozen surface hides a hollow center. Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Xardion. In the last part, we started off the game, and in between parts I believe I did some grinding to get everyone around level 5 or 6. What's beneath all this ice? Jungle. Jungle inside a planet? Well, let's go see that shit, man. That sounds awesome. Wow, this is a long fall. Look, an underground world, warmed by an artificial sun. There's even land in the sky. How wacky. Wait, how does the gravity work for that? You know, this is a really cool idea, but it's just kind of strange. And we actually have some of the healthiest enemies in the game here. These little dinosaurs that fling their little claws at you are deceptively hard to dodge. And they are... I think they just have, like, straight up the most health of any normal enemy in the game that I can think of off the top of my head, at least. And here we get Triton's second special, and my favorite special in the game, the grenade. This thing fires wherever you're shooting, obviously. Notable, if you're firing up, it will fall down. The thing is about it, though, is that it damages enemies just by touching them, and it does damage almost per frame, it feels like. And whenever it makes contact with a wall or the floor, it has a gigantic lingering explosion effect that'll still damage enemies. However, notable, the lingering explosion effect can also damage you, so try to stay away from it wherever you're shooting it. Now, not in between parts, the last part I mentioned that there is a Word document of sorts of the manual out there, so I might as well read the plot synopsis from that. Because let's be real, the plot synopsis at the start of this game was, let's say, lacking. The legend! 7 decades ago in the year 208 C or 2108 AD for Earthlings, a race of highly intelligent beings built the ultimate doomsday device to protect their planet. The device was named Xardion. The artificially intelligent being was built on the planet Fiera, the fire planet of the Alpha 1 solar system. Oh, real quick, keep in mind this place for later. I'll say this, you know the legend about these flowers? No, I don't. What is it? When he who is called the Giant of White Iron awakes, the rose bushes will blossom with buds of joy roses. What in the world? God, that needs punctuation so badly. And that's the end of the stage, by the way. There's no boss for Holosphere 1. Holosphere 2, on the other hand, a giant underground pillar. Let's climb it. What? You can't be serious. I'm very serious. This stage is just a straight up climb, though it has these worms who are pretty good for experience points. Either way, going back to the plot. On Fiera, science had long since evolved into a state of super theory. The planetary science community discovered that a depletion of the ozone layer would cause a drastic change on the planet in the future and would end up unlivable in approximately 285 years. Wow, that is surprisingly relevant in today's society. Meanwhile, at the other end of the galaxy, Professor Dr. Sim Yu Late was working on his theory of life and surroundings. His goal was to rejuvenate a single planet and build an artificial ecosystem. Once his theory and planet were complete, he left one human on the planet to test his project, New Frontier. His goal was to control the ecosystem and enable the people of Fiera to relocate on a safe planet when the time came. Oh, also, we're coming up on the end of this screen. The thing is about this screen, on the top left of the map, there's going to be one more little bird nest enemy. However, Alcides' next special is behind it. However, if you try to jump up and grab it from right here, like this platform right here, you'll just hit the top of the screen and be loaded into the boss fight. What you want to do is get to this platform below me and then jump up. That is, I believe, the Ice Force ability, like Special Ice Force or something like that, which shoots forward 2 little pillars of ice. It's not very useful. It's only really good for low-to-the-ground enemies or so. But now it's time for the boss for this stage, a giant enemy crab. Think you can stop us? Not a chance. And this is where Grenade's really going to get some chance to shine. The way this boss fight works is that there's 4 things we need to destroy. The claws and the 2 little eyes it has there in the center. The main attack is for it to flail its claws around. However, every now and then it'll shoot out little baby crabs at you. And these have 2 trajectories. Either they'll gun right for you, or they'll zoom around you and try to come at you from the opposite direction. If you just stand on this platform right here and fire grenades at the claws, you can make the ground a much safer place to stand in order to take care of the little eyes. Grenade's gonna be your best bet for an attack here. In fact, try to jump and aim at all 4 things at once if you can, but if you can't, it just happens. Overall, this boss is probably one of the easiest in the game, albeit, as you can probably tell based off how my health jumped, I did die to this boss off screen, but hey, that allowed me to go through the stage and get more experience points. Either way, going back to the plot of the game, Unfortunately, the doctor became ill, and in anticipation of his death, he programmed NGC-1611's supercomputers to control all functions of the ecologium. I think there's a lot of typos in this document, including its defense. The supercomputers malfunctioned 12 years later, and the sole inhabitant of the planet was left to a survivalistic lifestyle. The Guardian devices tried to protect the test human and ecosystem. The computers misinterpreted their instructions as search and destroy. Without the computers' control over the Guardians, they soon became beasts of rage and fury, transforming many times beyond their original design. During this time, the distant Alpha 1 solar system was locked in a 7th-month war. In an act of desperation, the leaders of the three planets quickly resolved their differences to fight the NGC-1611 invaders by utilizing their three most significant robot eliminators. Immediately, Triton, King of the Sea, was commissioned by the Ocean Sphere, Aquata, the Holosphere, Zikar, spent Panthera, the cybernetic leopard, and Phaera sent Alcides, the telekinetic beastie bot. Each of these robots must arm themselves with weapons located on the surface of the planets. That's the boss, by the way. As you can see, once you get rid of the claws, it becomes more or less just sitting there. Though it does like to spawn out more crabs at a time to try and take you out more quickly. Once you get to that phase, though, it doesn't stand much chance at all. And now the stage randomly gets really weird. Oh, really? So close. Because now gravity flips around, and we have this screen where there's not really any threat. Hey, what's happening? Gravity's been inverted. Over here, we just have a bunch of items to pick up. That's it. I do believe the first save item in the game is here, though, so grab that if you can. I think you also get some sub-tanks and weapon recharge, which are always nice. But once we fall down this waterfall, we're sent to the next stage. So what was the purpose of that? Was that supposed to be a recharge? Phaera, the red desert planet, home of a high scientific civilization and of Alcides. And before we continue on with the plot, you might notice right there we can actually see Panthera's next special. That is, I believe, the charge ability. It sends Panthera out in this weird upwards angle as a projectile. It's very slow, but not very useful. Scorch, that's the name of it. There you go. It's honestly probably my least favorite special in the game, barring Alcides. By the way, to finish off the plot, the robots are role progressive, or learning mechanisms. The more experience they have, the better their ability to carry out the desired task. Your duty, as given by the Planetary Federation, is to lead the pilots of Alcides and Triton and the cyber-cerebral mind of Panthera to the distant star of NGC-1611. Locate Xardion if possible, but at any cost you must terminate Invader's power source. Save the Alpha 1 star system. I feel like this may have been transliterated. It's dangerous here. The desert currents are fast. Careful, readings show something down that hole. But we want to go down this hole because this is where most of the level is. If you go to the right, you can get to the boss fight really quickly. But most of the level experience points we want to get are down here, as well as, I think, at least one special ability. I think it's Triton's third special, which is my least used of his, barring his fourth one now I think about it. But it does have a use. It's Shield, which is this front-facing shield. I'm not going to use it right now, but it protects you from most projectiles. The manual also has a brief thing about the three robots. The Xardion is the legend, the ultimate cyborg, the indestructible force of pure power. Panthera from the planet Holosphere is a cybernetic leopard that will give you super cat-like skills with incredible strength. Yeah, right. From the Ocean Sphere comes Triton, King of the Sea, and from the planet of fire, Phaera, comes Alcides. Wow, the Panthera got more plot than either of the characters I prefer to play as. That's kind of ridiculous. Mind you, it's not like the plot really matters in this game, and this is more so just an excuse to do cool robot things. You know what? I'll take that. These little things here that we see, these little canisters, those are your health restorative items. They aren't too common in the game. I think they're only in this stage. I don't think there's any of them in Holosphere. There's one on the second stage in the game, very early on. I think they are in the next stage and the stage after that as well, but otherwise they're not in any of the other stages. Also, random platforming gimmick here. If you stand on these buried tanks for too long, their turrets fall down and you just can't stand on them for a little bit. Either way, now we're back in the main level and we're about 2 feet, no, I'm more like 20 feet to the right of where we exited. There's a building that is a point of no return in front of us that if you just continued right from the hole, you would have found little jets to get to the top of. Notable thing about this stage, though, that doesn't come into play too much. The little tanks on the ground can fire at you, which is just plain annoying, really. But now it's time for the boss of this stage, in Airship, I also leveled up off screen. This boss starts by coming in from the right side of the screen. This is very good, because not only does it allow you to get some cheap damage right off the bat with your weapons, but if you shoot the grenade at it like I am right now, if you can't see that due to compression, you get a lot of quick damage. Once it's on screen, the airship flies to the top of the screen where it starts firing these green projectiles. They can be either flung diagonally straight down, or straight down, and then they'll make a sudden shift to the left or right towards you. So you want to be able to quickly duck in the case it's needed. It'll also eventually fly to the bottom left of the screen and fly to the right, firing that small projectile, in which case when it reaches the right wall again, it'll fly down, firing a laser directly at you. If you can effectively use the grenade special here, this boss is very easy. However, if you're not used to that, this boss can take a while, and because of that, it can be quite hard due to the projectiles being pretty quick, all things considered. And that's the 5th stage in the game down, I believe? Yeah, 5. And are we going to get that level up? Oh, so close. And now we're in this weird elevator tower sequence. The stages in this game don't make much sense to me, like, in terms of narrative, but at the same time, it's just an excuse to do cool sci-fi shit, so I'm not going to complain too much. Though, this stage is particularly one of the more annoying in the game, because if you're not careful, you can fall all the way back down to the start of it, and that's just no good. The enemies here love to home in on you, too. These little drill things will jump directly out at you. That weird red thing will do the same thing after it moves back left and right a lot. We do have another special to grab in this stage, though, and we'll see that in a few moments. For right now, though, I'm curious, because I've never looked this up yet, what the speedruns are like for Xardion. Because this strikes me as a game that would be mostly tech-based, because this doesn't strike me as a very glitch-heavy game. Let's see, speedrun.com. Only one run in 27 minutes, and that's 5 years old. Yeah, that sounds about right. The game itself is only maybe an hour long if you play well, so it being half that length does not surprise me. And being that inactive of a game also does not surprise me. And then we got Alcaides' third special, Black Hole, which causes the screen to flash black, which is kind of annoying. The Black Hole itself, though, is actually one of the more useful specials in the game if you use it correctly in tandem with Alcaides' own attack. You can't switch to another character while it's on screen, though. What it does is that it sucks in, I believe, any projectiles and any minor enemies. It's very useful in particular on the boss after next. Just due to the amount of projectiles in that fight, even though I prefer to take another method of fighting it. At this point, though, we're close to the end of the stage. In fact, most of the stages in this game are less than 5 minutes long. Linear driver room and airlock should be above here. Okay, cool. It's also where the boss is, but we'll get to that in a quick moment after we jump up to it. Demon armor, blast it, we've been cut off. Just stand to the left or right, by the way. This is terrible, we're history! Was that supposed to be funny? Well, that's one less enemy to worry about. What was the point of that? Frankly, I'm not thrilled. Me either. I started on a boss fight, man. That's probably one of the strangest decisions in this game. You get experience points for it, too, which is just weird. I guess the puzzle is if you're not careful, you could probably get crushed by it. I wouldn't be surprised if that thing's instant kill. But why? Look, there's a Xardion parked in orbit. A Xardion? Yes, a space battleship. It's a ghost ship abandoned during construction. Ironic, isn't it? In the past wars, I would have used this style of ship against each of you in Mortal Kombat. The ghost ship is probably the hardest stage in the game if you just gotta try to go through it straight, because there's a lot of enemies here that just love to swarm you. However, they also give you Panthera's third special here, the invincibility shield, which makes you completely invincible to everything barring bottomless pits. Any challenge the stage had is gone. Admittedly, this is probably the second best stage in the game to grind on. The best stage in the game to grind on for experience points is the first stage on Fire that we started the part off with. But that's just due to the fact that a couple of the enemies in there give 5 experience, the most any enemy gives you in the game, I believe. namely the weird worms in the underground, and once you're strong enough to take it out with like a grenade or something, the airships that are trying to bomb you from above. So you can probably get upwards of 60 plus experience points per visit there if you're playing it safe. It feels weird for this game to have an invincibility power-up like this. It does use up a good bit of ammo. Well, no, actually, no, it doesn't. That barely used anything at all. Yeah, this is just plain broken. Any challenge the game had, which was to begin with fairly little, I should mention, just due to the fact that there's infinite lives and checkpoints are very kind, admittedly, is just straight up gone. That's kind of sad. Don't like this song that much. In fact, I will say, this game's soundtrack is a bit too subdued for my tastes. Metal Warriors and Cybernator have much more active soundtracks. But now we're at the boss for this stage, this weird parasite demon thing. The way this boss fight works is that it tries to stick to the top of the screen. However, whenever there's something beneath it, be it you or I believe in the explosion from a weapon like this, it'll slam itself down several times while firing out its little projectiles. Grenade's really good here because you can just shoot right up, and while it takes damage from the grenade itself, it'll also be damaged by the explosion while it's trying to slam down. So you have a lot of good just offense with grenade here. This is also the fight where Black Hole can be the most useful because it'll just completely nullify these little drone things it's shooting out. So if you play yourself right, this can be a very easy boss fight, but not that there's much challenge in the game here or with this boss to begin with. Cool design, though, I have to say. Looks kind of like a human heart in a way. And that's the stage. Man, that invincibility shield just murders the game, doesn't it? Also, I believe I looked it up recently. I misspoke about the save item last part. I believe it saves wherever you are and what you've done. I think the save just gives you a checkpoint where you were. ANC is out. We're falling. Outer hull temperature rising rapidly. It's nearly at the limit. Trouble. The counter verniers are out. Flight unit will deploy. Planetary surface approaching rapidly. 8 seconds to touchdown. We're going to crash. Quick, open the parachute. Let it be in time. I think it's already been 8 seconds, by the way. I think we're gonna make it. Oh, that looks nice and green. But with that, I'm going to need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, and in part 3, we're gonna go finish off the game, now that I think about it. See you guys then.